What's going on, guys? It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ, and welcome to the RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. Today, I got a must-start running back for the LA Rams, Cam Akers. Now, he has the Seahawks this week, and the Cooper Kupp is officially out for week 1. So what does this mean for the rest of the Rams players, and why is Cam Akers a must-start? So let's get right into the episode. So like I said, Cooper Kupp officially out Sunday against the Seahawks, so there's a lot of targets on the table for many pass catchers, and I think Cam Akers is one of those guys that can benefit with Cooper Kupp out. Now, one of the key points I want to hit here and why I think he will be involved in the pass game is offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is coming from the Jets. He's a new guy in the building, but I definitely think Sean McVay has a plan on why he's here. Now, looking at Mike LaFleur's history with the running back targets, and I think it will benefit the Rams offense and Cam Akers. I mean, dating back to 2015 to 2016 with his time with the Falcons, the running back unit averaged 8 targets per game, which was 7th in the NFL in that time span. And also worth mentioning that Devontae Freeman finished RB1 in 2015, so he had a very strong year that year. Now moving on to his time with San Francisco 2017 to 2020, the running back unit, they averaged 8 targets as well per game, and that was 5th in the NFL in that time frame. And also worth mentioning that 2017, Carlos Hyde finished 5th in targets among running backs. Yeah, Carlos Hyde. But moving on to the Jets from his previous years, the last 2 years he spent there, 21 to 22, the running back targets per game were 7.5, which was 3rd in the NFL. So we saw Breece Hall last season get peppered with targets. Also, Michael Carter as the backup get peppered with targets as well, while Breece Hall was still healthy in those first 7 weeks. So that's also worth mentioning and stashing in the back in your head for the Kyren Williams fans out there as well. Akers could see a lot of targets heading his way, and what makes me believe that is basically with Sean McVay this early in the summer basically saying that he will be the focal point of the offense. I believe him compared to previous years where he said he basically looks at the starting running back unit as 2 guys, which it was Darrell Henderson at the time and Cam Akers. He couldn't really decide or name a starting running back, and we saw how that played out in the first half of the season. So completely night and day situation here where there's not much running back competition back there to keep Cam Akers off the field. Akers finished the season strong, worth mentioning last year, and I definitely feel as though he is going to be taking that energy and the momentum into this season. If we look at weeks 13 to 18, nobody had more rushing yards or rushing touchdowns than Cam Akers. He had 5.3 yards per touch, and he had 3 100-plus rushing yard games, and that's definitely handsome when it has 18 fantasy points per game and in that time span. And Akers was simply in a different zone. He was playing out of his body, which he carried a lot of fantasy managers to the playoffs. Now looking at the Seahawks defense on Sunday, he has history with them. If we look at last season, the 2 games he played, Week 13, he had 19 fantasy points, and he found the end zone twice. Week 18, the last game of the season, he had 15.8 fantasy points, and he had rushed over 100-plus yards. So he has a good matchup week 1, and I want to put him in starting lineups just with Mike LaFleur there, Sean McVay back, and that he'll be the focal point. If he can get peppered with some targets, this is great for PPR, and also the previous history he's had with this Seahawks defense. He's put a lot of solid points on the board against them. So I like the matchup, and I like the workload who is potentially on his plate. So please, I'm telling you, and I'm advising, and I'd like to take accountability here. Cam Akers is a must start for week 1. I will find a way to put him into my starting lineups as a flex or as an RB2. He's definitely going to be a better option than a lot of guys that are out there that are said to be starters, but man, you cannot give up on this matchup. I'm going to take full accountability, so make sure you come back here on this video and leave a comment below on what you guys think, if I was wrong, if I was right. But hey, that's enough for me. Hopefully Cam Akers is a must start for you, and enjoy those fantasy points with Cam Akers in the starting lineup. So please make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video, and make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Real Deal Fantasy. Until next time.